Well, when I figured out and found out what Soldier On did, and for fellow wounded soldiers, it was kind of a no-brainer. Like, they're just such an awesome organization that help out a lot of people, not just the wounded soldiers themselves, but their whole families and communities around them. It's an unbelievable program.
I was on a website, a military discussion forum called army.ca. I had a blog on there discussing Soldier On, so I became interested through that while I was still convalescing in the hospital, going through rehab. And it was very shortly after I got out. I was discharged in September of '08, and by December I was on my first sports fitness clinic with Soldier On.
I met the staff at Soldier On some 6 months after my accident, and shortly after I bought a handbike, which was the beginning of the end to my isolation. I had felt alone, and training really helped. I started with Soldier On as soon as I got back to Valcartier for treatment. I was looking for a way to exercise outside of the gym and in the market for a bike. I was introduced to Soldier On, Sans Limite, who could help me acquire a reclining bike and adapt it to my needs. Funding provided by Soldier On made that purchase possible.
When I was wounded in Afghanistan, I had a hard time with my mobility, hard time walking around, and just with range of motion. Since I've been in contact with Soldier On, I've ran multiple half marathons, coming third place in one and top 30 in another.
I mean, I never thought I'd ski again, and within 4 months of being discharged from the hospital, there I was going down the slopes of Mount Washington on a sit ski.
Soldier On allowed me to acquire skills outside of my usual field of activity. This past summer, for instance, I tried adaptive kayaking and adaptive water skiing. I hadn't really practiced those sports in the past, but Soldier On encouraged me to try my hand at things I wouldn't have dreamt possible, what with my disability. You can try your luck with racing wheelchairs or hand cycles, which, you have to admit, are out of the ordinary. Soldier On can also introduce you to Paralympic sports. These were all new ways for me to lead an active life.
It's not just being introduced to adaptive sports that I might not have had the wherewithal to get personally involved in as a solo person approaching an established team, but it's really the networking and the feeling that all of a sudden you're not alone, because the rehab journey through the hospital can be a pretty lonely solo experience.
You're exposed to a bunch of new things you didn't know you could do. You meet a lot of people who got similar type of injuries, who may be able to help you maybe further along down the road a little bit more than you.
I no longer felt alone. I also had the opportunity to meet other fellow wounded soldiers like me.
My first Soldier On experience in Kingston, Ontario opened my eyes. I was having the ability to relate with people who had amputations, been living with them for 15, 20 years, and knew all kinds of tricks and tips, and it was just fantastic.
They helped me with the stages of grief. I mourned the person that I was and moved on to who I am now. I'd shut down, but Soldier On helped me to become active and fit. Not fit like I used to be, but fit in a different way. I felt alive again and went looking for a challenge, another kind of challenge. This weekend, or this week, is all about what I've achieved since I started rehab over a year and a half ago. We'll take stock of progress made to date. Perhaps there'll be other tools that will allow me to do even more while in rehab.
If there's one piece of my rehab, I think, that's made a fundamental difference to my post-injury life, in terms of building my self-confidence, in terms of networking with other injured and wounded soldiers, it's been Soldier On, hands down.
It's just been an awesome organization. They've helped out so much.